Welcome to Our Drummers Musicians, recorded on a cozy couch in Brunswick. Join us as we explore what it truly means to be a musician and speak to the diverse talents that make music in our city. I'm your host Luke, and today we're with Ben Cripps, an electric and double bass player with over 30 years of professional experience. Ben's impressive career includes working with Australian pop act Human Nature for over 20 years, during which he performed with Motown legends Smokey Robinson and Mary Wilson of the Supremes in Las Vegas and Atlantic City. He's also toured and recorded with a host of legendary Australian acts, including Bachelor Girl, Kate Ceberano, Tina Arena, David Campbell, Paul Gray, Iota, Emma Pask, Pee Wee Ferris, Paul Mack, Ross Wilson, Paulini, Baby Animals, Jimmy Barnes, John Stevens, Richard Clapton, Ian Moss, Lisa Maxwell, and Marsha Hines. If that list of experiences wasn't versatile enough, Ben's expertise extends into the orchestra pit for Melbourne's productions of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert the Musical, Jersey Boys, and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Currently residing in Melbourne, Ben continues to tour, record, and perform live shows. He offers bass recording sessions, music composition, and bass lessons from his home studio. Join us as we explore Ben's extensive career, his journey with the bass and bass mods, and touch on his latest venture with his own original music, the release of producer named Cripptic, and the seriously funky and bass-led single Muffin Pincher. We want to take a moment to acknowledge the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation as the traditional custodians of the land on which this podcast was recorded. We pay our respects to their elders past and present. Ben, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Luke.
What is the most recent album that you've listened to?
Oh, God.
If you're an album listener.
Yeah, probably... This Is Why, Paramore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I gave that a good rotation for a while. It's not that really recent, but yeah. That's like probably the latest full album I've listened to anyway.
Cool.
Yeah.
How do you listen to music? What's your medium of preference?
What style?
Are you like a Spotify guy, or I put a record on, or headphones and just in the car?
Oh, look, I'm the worst musician like that, only because, look, in the old days, I was like CDs,
Yep.
I bought that, thousands of CDs, and I do have an Apple Music subscription. But yeah, I guess it's Apple Music. I got a whole heap of vinyl at home that I kind of put on still.
Yeah.
Pretty old school when it comes to that. But yeah, no, I guess Apple Music's the medium, and it's just really my playlist I put together.
Yep.
I'm pretty bad at finding new music, so when I hear something good, someone's playing, I go, "Oh, what's that?" Because I don't search for it as much as I used to back when I was younger. Anyway,
Yeah, sure.
There's so much good stuff out there, but sometimes I need a prod to point in the right direction. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I thought we could start by chatting about some of your new music.
Oh, sure.
Because you dropped your track, and it was awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
And, so I thought, well, I'm checking it out and enjoying it.
Yep.
Why don't we start with, where the idea for, you making your own music in this new project, Cripptic, came from?
Okay, well, I don't know. It's sort of something that I had to get out of my system. I really wanted to just put something out that was sort of me.
Okay.
And I kind of used the name Cripptic before. So I produced my wife's record, Lisa Maxwell's record, Let It Rain. That was
2017-ish?
Yeah, something like that. Me and her produced that, and I was under the name Cripptic. But so the song's called Muffin Pincher, and you're probably thinking, what an odd name for a song.
Yeah.
It all goes back to, I'll just quickly tell you the story behind that. I think I was on tour with Bachelor Girl last year.
Okay.
And I think someone said, I might, because we're in the Virgin Lounge or something like that, because I might pinch a muffin. Because what you're a bit of a muffin pincher or something like that. Anyway, we kind of thought it was quite funny, and I kind of thought, I like that name, Muffin Pincher. So anyway, it's just an absurd, you can call it a song, any song, anything really. So it's not really, there's no substance to the name. But yeah, I started working on the tune last year, and then this last school holiday, I thought, I'm going to finish this. I have to finish it. So it's just been sitting there bugging me for too long. Anyway, I just went to work, and it got better and better as far as my standards, and I thought, yeah, why not? I'll just put it out, and it's fun. It's good. I plan to do more stuff. I just got to get around to doing it, but it just sort of reflects sort of my funk influences.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got that sort of 80s electro sort of funk thing with the live bass, sort of slap bass and stuff like that, and Princey. You can hear it if anyone listens to the track. Go do yourself a favor, listen to Cripptic, Muffin Pincher on all streaming platforms. So
I'll put links in the podcast website.
That'd be great. Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll even embed the track in so people can just click on it and just boom, it's right there.
You're a champion. Thanks so much.
It's fine. So it's interesting, like you say that, like, this is like really reflects me. Your whole career of session bass work has been with quite a lot of different bands, like different styles, and like Human Nature's maybe the longest running one, but even then they're like doing so many different things, from like the Motown act to like their other stuff. Do you find that, I don't know, like you definitely have a bit of a sound, but also you've got to play the chameleon role.
Yes.
Do you get enough like creativity when you're playing with other projects, or is this like, I just really want to do something that's mine, and now I'm finally got enough time to do it or something?
Yeah. Look. Like when you play Human Nature, you pretty much need to sort of play what's on the records and stuff like that. And there is a little bit of room to sort of throw in your own licks and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's sort of like the role of a session musician. You can't be, unless they sort of give you the green light, you can't really be too sort of, hey, I'm going to chuck my own thing on this, you need to sort of lay it down, and if you make a mistake on bass, everyone hears it. So, it's like that. But what was the question again? Sorry.
Well, it's more like, do you find that you can put your voice into these session musician roles?
I guess you can a little bit. Obviously you can put your own sort of licks in here and there, but generally, it depends on the gig. I mean, if you're doing a pit gig, you have to do what's written on paper. They don't like it at all. You'll get a note. If you go off script, but and maybe if you get play a little bit wild, the MD of Human Nature or whatever might say, can you just sort of settle down there? So short answer to your question, not really. Well, you can, but you probably should just play what's needed, really.
Sure.
Yeah.
So has there been any acts that you've had like more creative control over?
Just trying to think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there like any bands that you've actually like been in, I guess, where you're like...
I'm the bass player and I can just play whatever I want.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I had this band in Sydney called Jungle Hammer. It was sort of like a production thing, though. We sort of just got together and recorded a whole bunch of stuff, and then they'd edit it all up and sort of make songs out of it. Mm-hmm. So there's that, and there was a certain amount of freedom in Bachelor Girl, but I mean, again, I tried to keep true to the bass lines that were there,
Yep.
But not really for the sort of big acts, but yeah, for the original bands, yeah, sure. I mean, what original band? I got a project with a couple of mates from Sydney, called, coming out this year, hopefully. It's called Lakemba Sound Machine.
Cool.
And that's all, we're all doing our own thing, so there's a lot more creativity there, and everyone sort of has a go at arranging songs and writing harmonic parts. Started in COVID actually, because we were bored, weren't working, so let's do this. And Joe, who plays drums, would send a loop, and then I'll put a bass line down, and then the guitarist, who actually lives in LA now, he puts his guitar down, and the keyboard player and then we sort of chopped it up and made these songs. It's like 4 years in the making, so hopefully
wow,
we'll get it out this year. So we're currently getting songs mixed now. So
cool. Have you
that's
been
exciting.
Producing that, like putting everyone's stuff together, or?
Oh, we kind of like take turns. Like we all produce it. We all sort of have a go at producing it. So, so like some songs I've, sort of taken the rein a bit as far as like arranging stuff like that. But generally, like everyone has their say on, like it's been an interesting process. Just like talking about mixes, like this pit's too high, or I don't like this part, so that needs to be changed. And do you know what I mean? So we get 4 producers, really.
Nice.
Yeah. But it's fine. I mean, it's not like there's egos or anything like that. We just all talk about it, and sometimes the compromises have to be made. But they're not deal breaking compromises as far as the songs are concerned and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, what's it like? You mentioned that like Lisa Maxwell's your partner. What's it like making music in that like relationship context?
Oh yeah. Look, we haven't done it for a while, but it was great when I first met Lisa. It was about 30 years ago now. Back in Sydney, because I'm originally from Sydney. She had she just got a record deal with Dance Pool, and we just wrote a few songs together back then, and we had a band and we used to perform and stuff like that.
So were you involved in it right at its early stages when she had those hits like back in the 90s?
To a point. I think I got one song on the record.
Okay.
It's called Brighter Days. I co-wrote that with Lisa and another guy. But yeah, but we also written a whole bunch of other tunes that didn't quite make the record at that point. And then we had a big hiatus there, and then I think it was 2017, I think we said.
Yeah, I think so.
Let It Rain came out. Just me and her just went for it, and wrote a bunch of stuff. But the process is, it's fine, Yeah.
Is there going to be like another hiatus of whatever that is, like, I don't know, 20 years, and then another album is going to drop? Like, you need just big breaks between these creative outlets?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I might even get Lisa to do a bit of wailing on the Cripptic stuff as well. She's already expressed interest in doing that. So.
Ooh.
So yeah, just like more like not necessarily lyrical stuff, because I want to keep it sort of instrumental based.
Oh yeah, sure.
Or if anything, if I get a singer on, it'd be a special guest or something. But she'll definitely jump onto that.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Well, what was it like, doing the music thing in Sydney in terms of like coming up and, you went to the con for a little bit, and
Yep.
Sydney's such a different musical town to Melbourne.
Yep.
What was it like?
It was interesting. I didn't really get my first break in sort of like the professional sort of scene until I sort of started playing with Human Nature.
Okay.
And the reason I got that gig was by chance. The Human Nature used to have this drummer called Derek Antunes, like unbelievable drummer, like one of the best I've ever played with. He's an American guy. He's married to Tina Martinez. I don't know if you remember that band. Is it Sound Unlimited Posse? Is that what they were called? No. They later Renegade Funk Train, but they were like a hip hop band in the 90s. Anyway, he married Tina. He moved out here, and he was playing drums for Human Nature. And by chance, he needed a bass player for his original band, and I went and jammed with him and did a rehearsal, and it's like, it was all great or anything. And about a week later, he goes, he rings me up. You would be interested in playing bass with Human Nature by any chance, would you? I went, sure,
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? That sounds great, And back then, it would have been, it was 99, so they were still doing their boy band stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, that was my foot in the door. So
Wow.
just from playing with this one musician, he was impressed by my playing, and the rest is history, as they say. So yeah, that's how I started with Human Nature, and my first gig was New Year's Eve 1999 at Darling Harbour.
Whoa.
So it was like Rock the Millennium or something like that. It's just when 2000 came.
Yep.
I think the bill was like, it was us, Bachelor Girl, Paul Kelly. I can't remember, a whole bunch of pretty big acts. So
It would have been.
it was a bit nerve wracking. It was huge, yeah. It was at Tumbalong Park there. So
Wow.
yeah,
What
baptism by fire.
Yeah.
basically.
Did it feel like it? Like just, what am I doing here? Like I've just been thrown in the deep end.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty scary, but I did my homework and got through the gig, and the boys like me, and I've been doing Human Nature on and off for 20 years, so yeah, it was a turning point in my sort of professional career, I guess you'd say. So yeah, that was great, and as far as the Sydney scene though, going back to that,
Yeah.
it's like the Melbourne scenes. There's lots of little cliques, the cool kids, and all that. I don't know. Same down here. I kind of like on the outskirts of all of them. I don't really go in deep. Like there's a massive R&B sort of scene in Sydney back in the day, and it still is. They all play their funky cool gigs and stuff like that, and like down here as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to play with a lot of those guys, and I did a few gigs at Terrapire Richmond, and
Oh yeah.
and who other the drummers? There's a guy called John Mackay. He actually, before I did Human Nature, when I was 18, I toured with. I know you're probably too young to remember this band, but they're called Radio Freedom.
Okay.
They kind of had a couple of hits. God, it would have been early 90s. Yeah. They had one on this TV show. I can't remember what it was. It's a song called I Can Feel It. Anyway, I toured. I did my first proper tour with that band when I was 18, and I was lucky enough to play this drummer called John Mackay, who used to play drums for the Machinations. Do you know the Machinations?
I don't know.
Yeah, they were kind of big 80s band, and also Absent Friends, which is like a conglomeration of all those 80s bands at the time. Had Wendy Matthews in it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, anyway, yeah, so I was 18 playing this really good drummer, so it was like amazing because it's like you get to play with like really good players and then you improve yourself,
Yeah.
So I was very lucky at a young age to play with like such talented, good musicians. So
There must be more then to the story of how, like what were you doing musically then? Like, how did it start on the bass? Because it seems like, you're like, oh yeah, like just casually, like my first big gig is this like massive show with Human Nature. And then, yeah, I did do this other tour when I was 18. So like, I guess let's take it right back to the start. How did you get started with the bass?
Oh, okay.
And then were you just like some child prodigy where it all just like you held the bass and it all came in?
Not at all. I wish I could say that, but that's not the case.
Well, you come across as like a seriously hard worker. Like,
yeah.
Not that it looks like your bass playing is effortful.
Yeah.
But you know your stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it comes across.
Yeah, sure. Oh, okay, so I kind of started bass by accident, really. When I was 14, 15, I was a mad skateboarder. That was my life.
Right.
That's all I wanted to do, I loved it, I used to, I was a street skater. I wasn't very good on a ramp, but I used to, do handrails and we have jump ramps. So I had no fear. I was doing like stuff I'd never dream of doing now. Like I would probably break a limb or something. But anyway, I had some mates and they were right into the sort of punk stuff, like Sex Pistols and Dead Kennedys, like stuff. I mean, at the time, I thought, oh yeah, this is great. But anyway, that I sort of jammed with them, and like my first bass guitar was this acoustic guitar with a couple of strings on it, with a microphone stuck in the in the body.
Okay.
So, and that was sort of like, and we had like used to have thanks to my parents who put up with us, used to let us sort of rehearse at my house, and and they noticed that he's taking interest in double bass. I mean, not electric bass. Anyway, one day I come home from school and there's this electric bass lying on my bed, and they bought me one. So
Whoa.
I was like, oh wow, this is amazing. So it was just this cheap Chinese thing, but it did the job. So from there on, I just pretty much got obsessed with playing bass. I just want to get better and better. I got lessons, and I pretty much did exactly what the teacher told me. And get home from school, put it on a CD and try and work out the bass lines. I did that from a very early age. Just use my ear.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, and I just got better and better and better, and ended up sort of that this we formed a punk band. I actually was the one and only time I sang in a band.
Oh.
Yeah, it's to do like I said, Sex Pistols covers and stuff like that.
Yes.
And they were right into the Angels, like sort of bogan Australian rock stuff, which I loved back then as well. I still do. And sort of went, played with other bands around. I grew up in the Sutherland Shire, so in Sydney. So there was other bands that were needed bass players. I'd play with them, and then I was playing with people that are older than me, like in their mid-20s, and I was doing gigs at 16 in the city, like this place called Springfields. Used to do like the graveyard shift there, like 1 till 2 or whatever.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and it's like the dodgiest place. It doesn't exist anymore, but yeah, Springfields and
this is like
King's Cross and
covers, or
I think we had we had original band, sort of like bluesy. What were we called? The Sly, I think, or something. I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, John Cassicelli, his name was. Yeah, I sort of played with him, and he took me under his wing, and I did lots of gigs with him, and do you know what I mean? Just things. My reputation got better around the local scene in Sutherland, and then because those guys in Radio Freedom all lived in the Sutherland Shire.
Okay.
So, the guitarist said, oh, do you want to do Radio Freedom? And, that was the beginning of playing with much more professional players, and,
yeah, right.
Kept you on your toes, And, shortly after, Radio Freedom, I met Lisa, and, working with her, and then Human Nature, and, yeah, so on and so forth. Yeah.
So where did the crossover from, I guess, the punk music that you were listening to with your mates and playing in some early bands with translate to actually studying the bass, I guess, and learning all these Motown lines and the session musician rather than staying in, I guess, that scene or pursuing that in particular?
Yeah, I guess it's like anything, you evolve as a musician when you start. I mean, when I got the call to do Human Nature, Human Nature, so wasn't what I was into at the time.
Okay.
It just wasn't, But, actually, when I met Lisa, she opened my mind up because she was singing. She was doing a whole bunch of different things, like singing. She was singing with this band called Boxcar, who were like a techno band. They did The Big Day Out and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, yeah, I can see why people like this sort of music. So, I just got really interested in different styles of music and went down different rabbit holes. I mean,
yeah, right.
As far as studying and stuff like that, I was always sort of keen to. I did get a couple of lessons at the con when I was quite young, and then I later auditioned for the con and got in when I was 20. I was a mature age student, so I got that's sort of where I studied more harmonic sort of stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I was pretty obsessed with the bass, so I just wanted to get better, basically. So I did. When the teacher says do these scales, I actually did them.
Yes.
And learnt my modes and just the understanding of chord theory and stuff like that. I already had a pretty decent ear, so I could pick up tunes really quick. I had a knack for that. So
yeah, cool.
I guess it just sort of you evolve. Answer your question. I think the big turning point was, it's such a cliche thing to say, but Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
Like Flea for me, it was like particularly Mother's Milk and Blood Sugar Sex Magic. Just like, oh wow, okay, you can play a bass like that. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's a groove. And then from there, I went down the 70s sort of funk thing, disco. I got pretty obsessed with that. So,
for the better, I think.
Yeah, I'll totally for the better. I love it. So yeah, I sort of started listening to Chic and Bernard Edwards, and he's the bass player from Bernard Edwards.
Yeah.
And Lewis Johnson, all those guys. I'm a massive Anthony Jackson fan.
Okay. Yeah.
He's just to me, he's probably the GOAT. As the bass players, he's just like the stuff he plays on Chaka Khan's records. It's just amazing. That guy's serious. Pino, obviously, probably more so. I mean, the '80s stuff's are pretty amazing, like all the fretless stuff. But stuff when he started playing with D'Angelo. And,
oh yeah.
I mean, he's serious as well. Such a groove.
Have you been able to see any of your bass heroes live?
I saw Michelle DeGaiacello earlier this year. She was amazing.
That gig was great.
Oh, so good. She's like that record. That's another record that changed my life. Was Plantation Lullabies. Or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you should check that out. Did you know that record? Or
not well.
Yeah.
Lucy's introduced me to it.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything from the 90s is basically my thing. My family just had a giant hole as if that 10-year period didn't exist. And so now in my adult life, I'm learning that there was all these different things that happened. And
90s is amazing.
Yeah.
It's a good era of music.
It's a low learning experience. But the track of hers, The Way, is what got me in.
That's off
I think it's
Peace
Leader.
Beyond Passion, that record.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Such a cool tune, and that was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can. Yeah. I'll dive in after that.
Yeah. So, to answer your question, just Michelle was good. I mean, that was an interesting concert because she wasn't on bass the whole time. But God, when she got on, that's the second time I've seen her. I saw her in Brooklyn.
Ooh.
In 2009.
Okay.
And same deal. She always used to have two bass players. When I say two, herself and someone else. So I had I think it was, I can't remember who it was, but very good. But it was bizarre. I mean, he was a great bass player. I can't remember who it was, but when she got on, I was like, oh, just that feel is just amazing. It's just like, oh, okay. Yeah, there's the pocket. It's nice. Any other heroes? Let me think. Oh, I saw Living Colour at the Hawthorn Pavilion with Doug Wimbish.
Wow.
I don't suppose he's like one of my major heroes, but it was great seeing him play.
Yes.
He's an amazing player. Who else? I can't really think of anyone at the moment.
That's right. I kind of put you on the spot.
Yeah. I met Tony Levin.
Oh, how did that come about?
This is a couple of years ago. He made an appearance at the Bass Centre. I got word of it. I thought I've got to go check it out. So I didn't really talk much to him. I just got a photo. He just shared some cool stories and stuff like that. But that was pretty amazing to be in the room with this legendary bass player. So that's good. I love Tony Levin's playing. So
well. You mentioned the Bass Centre, which got me thinking about all of the bass mod story that I've been following of yours on Instagram.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was like Povo 77 or something.
Project Povo 77, yeah.
Okay, yeah. As the like bass tweaking thing, like as well as like your, I guess like passion for like learning the skills. Did the like technical side of things come into it as well? Like, oh, I want to change this pickup and let's, get into like that like aspect of the gear thing as well, or was that later?
Oh, look, it's something I kind of like. My old man was a bit of a tinkerer, so I think I pretty much got it from him.
Okay.
So I've never really been afraid to open up my basses and do a bit of work on them.
Okay.
So I just something. Look, I'm not the greatest solderer, but I'm good enough just to put wires together and stuff like that. So yeah, I've always worked on my basses. I set them up myself, unless it's something serious where it's like too hard basket. I do it myself.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
But yeah, that that project, excuse me, was just. I really love Stingray basses. I've got an old 83 pre-Annie ball, so the whole idea was just to get. They're just so expensive.
Yes.
They're just ridiculously expensive. Which is nothing wrong if you want to spend that money. That's great. But I thought, oh no, I'll get the bottom of the line Stingray, which is a Sterling thing, and Sterling Ray 4 it is. It only cost me $580 or something. And then I thought, yeah, I just read online you could get like the clone for 77 Stingray preamp. And I just chucked that in, and I played a gig on it last night. It sounds really good.
Cool.
It's the cheapest bass I own. It's one of the best that's sound. Best. Sorry, I'll get that out. It sounds really good. Yeah.
Is that the first time that you've done like a retro style like remake?
Yes. Yeah, and I don't really like. If anything, it's just like repairs.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the first time I've actually sort of, mucked around with modding basses. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you haven't like done like other than servicing and like fixing stuff up? You haven't been
that's
like.
the only one I've done. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, all the other basses are all stock. Yeah. Oh, except for I've got this Japanese jazz bass. I sometimes change it. I've got the split coil pickup, so I sometimes switch between that and the single coil. So, but that's nothing exciting.
Okay.
Just changing pickups.
Does that make a big difference?
Single coils are more retro sound. There's a hum if you only have one pickup on.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got split coil ones, there's no hum. If that makes sense. So if you
use one pickup, you can turn it up without
the
hum.
If you got two split coil pickups and you turn one down, you won't get the hum because the coils are split. It reduces. I don't know the technical term, but there's no hum.
Yeah. Which is
that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you like a nice clean sound,
Okay.
Some people like that dirty jazz sound, and the hum doesn't bother them. It doesn't bother me. You have to really listen out to it in a live gig or anything. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So where'd the like Music Man love come from?
I've always been obsessed with Music Man, probably since Flea.
Okay.
But there's a story behind this. When I was 18, I did 2 months in Bangkok with a covers band, and I thought I'm going to save my money. Come back and I'm gonna get a Stingray. I'm gonna get a Stingray. So anyway, I come back and I've saved up my money. I go to the Bass Player in Sydney. It doesn't exist anymore. It's like that was the shop back in the day. And I thought I'm gonna get a Stingray. I played the Stingray. Yeah, it was all right. It was good. Anyway, this guy says should try this bass, and he hands me over a GNL L2000. Anyway, I walked out with that. So, but the thing about that bass is it's sort of like the evolution of the Stingray. So it was designed by Leo Fender.
Oh.
And it's like the next one along. Like it's got 2 pickups in it, 2 humbuckers, and it's pretty much like like I said, it's like a Music Man Stingray, but the next generation almost.
Wow.
So yeah, and I actually for the last 20 20 odd years, I've been playing G&L basses actually.
Yeah, okay.
So I played that one in the mid 90s for about 6 years, and then when I joined Human Nature, I needed to get a 5-string because all those boy band bass lines had like lower frequencies, so I had to have that low B to get the beefy sounds. You know what I mean? Sort of synthy sort of vibe.
Yeah.
So I got the 5-string version, was the L2500. It's a Blueburst. That was my main bass for a very, very long time. Still is. I still play it a lot. So yeah, that explains the Music Man thing. But I didn't really get a hand on a proper Music Man until about 10 years ago when I happened to come across that 1983 Pre-Annual Stingray.
Okay.
So yeah.
Did it feel special?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was great. It was a bit knocked up. I think it'd been in storage for a while. Some of the pots were a bit. I had to replace a couple of the pots, and it was a bit rust on it, so I had to kind of restore it a bit. Mm-hmm. But once I got it restored, the neck's great on it. It sounds amazing. Yeah,
sick.
Yeah. So basically, that's why I made the cheap one, because I don't like taking that bass out because it's heavy and it's old, and I hate for it to get stolen.
Yes.
So yeah, that's where the love of Music Man, and obviously some of my heroes like Bernard Edwards and Lewis Johnson, they all played Stingrays.
Yep.
Tony Levin,
Oh right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's a Stingray guy. I think in the early days he had P basses, but he plays Stingrays now. So I'm not endorsed by Stingray Music Man by any means, but I do love the basses. So.
Are you endorsed by GK?
G&L.
G&L?
Yeah, I was briefly. When I got that 5-string, I got it for a good price. So
nice.
Yeah, that's the only endorsement deal I've had with basses. Yeah.
Has anyone come along and done like the next gen of the development of, if the G&L is the development of the Stingray, which is the development of the, Fender bass?
Yeah.
What's the new thing?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, Leo's long passed away, so we won't get any innovations from him. But I guess I think the bass has pretty much got to its limit now. Really, I mean, I think Music Man are doing this thing where they put in like a preamp where it's sort of distorted, like a dark glass preamp.
Oh.
So that's sort of
okay.
That's pretty. I mean, if you're into that sort of proggy metal sort of thing, I guess that's kind of cool. I don't know. Nothing you can't do from guitar pedals, but that's an interesting thing. You just press a button, and next thing you know, your bass is like a growling, distorted, chunky machine. Yeah,
sure. Mm. So, do you do much 5-string stuff anymore, or are you back to like mostly 4s?
I've been. Look. Depends on the gig.
Okay.
I know the previous MD of Human Nature liked the 5. He just liked the low. We used to call them the brown notes. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like the low B's and low, C's and D's and all that. I mean, I like that bass because it just sounds so good. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily because it's a 5-string, but yeah, I have been sort of going back to my roots of the 4-strings. It's it depends what mood I'm in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Well, do you enjoy the like gun for hire type, changing nature of that? Like, this gig I'm gonna play these licks, and this gig I'm bringing this gear, and the sort of, I guess, like constantly changing nature of you're not just doing one sound, but you've got lots of different projects. You get called for lots of different stuff. So I guess like, is it exciting for you having like the changing nature of it rather than just, I'm just on the, whichever band and we're just doing that thing for, a year?
Oh yeah. Yeah, totally. I obviously bring what's necessary, for a gig. Last thing I did a show called Love Letter to Aretha Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was labouring about which bass to take. I ended up taking my P bass, which was fine, but I wish I took my Stingray. I just think that would have been good for that one. But it was a hard one because most of the stuff was her old stuff, so you really need that P sound.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You really need that classic sound. But although her modern stuff, you could play really much any bass. Because I think Marcus Miller plays on some of those tracks and stuff that we did.
Yep.
So yeah, I
Like
mean,
off the Get It Right album or something. Like
I can't remember what it's. They do a version. She does a version of Hold On Coming.
Oh yeah.
Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wild bass line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to play that.
Awesome.
So, but I wish I had my Stingray for that one. But in the perfect world, I would have taken two basses. But I ended up using my P bass, which is fine.
Cool.
Yeah, I love Ps. I pretty much love anything made by Leo Fender.
Yeah. I'm getting that vibe.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. It doesn't everyone, I guess.
Oh, I guess
Well, maybe
so.
not everyone, but-
Well, most bass players do, but a lot of guys like the modern sort of sounding basses, like active. I mean, mind you, the GNLs are active, but you got a passive switch on it. So a lot of the time when I play the GNLs, it's on passive anyway.
Okay.
Stingrays are just active all the time. Well, that's the way he designed it.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get the extra bit of oomph out of the bass.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm generally a bit of a traditionalist like that. Although I wouldn't mind getting my hands on an old Spectre bass one day.
What's that? I don't know what that is.
They're like they were big in the '80s. Well, they're still big now. They're quite expensive. They're active bass as well. Yeah, that company Warwick.
Yes.
They kind of copy the shape of it,
Okay.
but the Spectres are the OG original ones. So I can't. There's this particular model that everyone wants to get. But yeah, I Doug Wimbish plays them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, they just got a vibe about them.
Yep.
One day maybe. I don't need any more basses, so I've got too many. At the moment. Anyway.
Have you moved any on over the years, or is it just like a growing collection? Like other than, I guess, like some of the cheap starter ones.
Yeah, I had this bass. It's called a P-Lite, Fender P-Lite. Before I got my first GNL, I kind of regret moving that on now because I see them for sale. They're like people asking, like not amazing money, but more than what I paid for it.
Yeah.
That's for sure. See what I mean? So, but that's long gone. I almost moved on my first GNL, but I just, for some reason, I just can't let go of that bass. It's just sort of sentimental value. Sort of my first real bass I've owned. And I own one of those Sire basses. Yeah, you've seen those? Marcus Miller.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, really nice bass. I actually really liked it, but I wasn't in love with the preamp in it, so
Okay.
I moved that on.
That was because he put out like a cheaper bass or something,
Yeah,
didn't
that's
he?
exactly what it is. It was a V7, I think. 5-string.
Right.
But yeah, I had it for a while, but then I just decided it wasn't for me.
Sure.
Yeah, I know plenty of guys that play them all the time though now. So whatever floats your boat, it just wasn't. It just really. I mean, too many knobs. There's like that's the only reason. There's too many knobs, and then there's knobs with like a mid sweep, and I was like, it's too many.
You want like the Joe Dart, just one.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far,
Okay.
but yeah. I do like them simpler. That's for sure. That Joe Dart bass, yeah, that's controversial bass.
Why is it so controversial?
Oh, I don't know, man. It's like, it really is a one-trick pony.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I would have thought. I mean, you got to at least have a tone control on it, don't you? I get the simplicity of it, and whatever. Yeah, whatever you're into, but I don't know. I think I draw the line that much simplicity. You got to. I don't know. I think the tone control is important.
Okay.
That's just me. Though.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm an old fart. A bit too much of a traditionalist like that, but yeah.
Well, there's two extremes of all the knobs or one knob only. So I think like in the middle is kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Like,
I mean, to his credit, he made a cheaper version of it, which was good because the Music Man one's ridiculously priced. Like, that's the other thing. I can't justify paying for a bass that's only got one knob. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's just a passive Stingray. You know, it doesn't even have a preamp. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, is there any times from your career that really stand out as some big highlights for you? Do you look back on some gigs that really just stuck with you the whole time that you're like, oh yeah, that was a good one?
Oh yeah. Last year I was lucky enough to do the big red bash with Human Nature.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Like playing to all these. I don't know how big the crowd was. It's pretty big in the middle of nowhere, in the desert. Mind you, it was at night, so it would have been good to play during the day just to see the people better and everything. But still, it was still a great gig. That was really good. What else? There's been a few. This is not a big gig, but I did tour with Iota. Mm-hmm. Do you know much about Iota?
No, I checked him out because you played with him, but
yeah, he was kind of like in the 90s. He was this bit of a Triple J darling, and had success with his record, but I've worked with him a few things. He's just quite an amazing artist. Like I just in awe of him. The guy can just write a song like that, and it just sounds amazing. His voice is amazing. But we did a tour, 2016, and he had a new record out at the time, but we do all the old stuff. That was a highlight. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed that because I really dig his music, and
yeah, cool.
I just respect him as an artist, and just such a brilliant artist and singer, like world class. To me, anyway. Mm. So that was definitely a highlight working with him. Did a couple of big red, not big red bash. Was it Red Hot Summer gigs with Bachelor Girl? They were fun.
Oh yeah,
yeah, they were fun playing to those big crowds. And I did Rumba. I don't know if you guys. Do you remember Rumba?
I don't know Rumba, but tell me more.
Oh, it was like 2000s. It had all these big acts. I think Nelly Furtado was playing, and
it was like a festival.
Yeah. It was at in Sydney. Where was it? I had one in Melbourne as well at the Marvel Stadium. Yeah, it was a big festival. Had all these pop acts. But I did actually do that with two acts. I did that with Human Nature and Paul Mac.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I. Yeah, I had the double.
Yeah,
I was double dipping that day. So that was pretty cool. Especially when I, early, I was younger. I was like, oh man, all these people here.
Yeah,
yeah. It was a weird festival. Like it did okay the first year, and they tried it the second year. It just fell over. I think, like a lot of festivals.
Yeah,
especially these days.
They're not going well at the moment.
No, it's not good. Yeah. But yeah, there are a couple. I mean, there are probably a few more. I mean, my experience over in Vegas was interesting. Yeah, that was good as well. Being over there.
What was it like doing that? Like the Vegas show? It must be so unique.
It's the same show 6 nights a week. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was an interesting time. We like the boys only just sort of started, and needed a couple of regular players just to get it going. I was only there for 3 months, and then I had to get out of there. But it was in Vegas is an interesting place. The first 2 weeks was like in all the place. It's like, oh wow, this is amazing, lights everywhere. But I could have had a young family at the time, so I got a little bit, what's the word?
Homesick?
Yeah, homesick. My daughter had only just been born.
Okay.
She was only 6 months old, and my twins were 3 or something like that. So yeah, it was a mixed emotions, but it was good. I had some good times over there, and I saw some great acts. I saw Barry Manilow.
Oh,
that was interesting. And Bette Midler. She was awesome, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. At Caesars. And every Monday there was this band called Santa Fe, and it was like a conglomeration of all the show bands there.
Okay.
So it was basically the best of the best musicians in Las Vegas.
Wow.
And they get together and play Toto covers and stuff like that. It was just, yeah, it was pretty cool. like one of the tightest bands I ever saw.
Wow.
You know. So that was like a hang. That's a hang. There was a
Okay.
good hang on the Monday. So you go to the Palms there and watch those guys. It's good. Yeah.
Did it feel like, I don't know, do you just like lose track of days because you're just playing the same show like every day?
Oh yeah. It was like a job in the end. I mean, for the first month, I spent it in a hotel room. I was at Bally's, which was pretty depressing.
Okay. Seems exciting for like a couple of days.
Don't get me wrong. I appreciate the fact that I was over there, but yeah, just living in a hotel room was a bit much. So, but anyway, we ended up moving into like a apartment off the strip with the two band members, and that was better.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was a bit more communal,
Yep.
But it was cool. I mean, like I said, mixed feelings. I think in hindsight, I probably would have enjoyed myself. If I go over there, I'd probably enjoy myself better because I wouldn't have that. My family's at home, and my wife's looking after my kids, and while I'm here,
Yeah.
Working. Well, I am working, but also having a bit of fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we've been playing this game on the podcast where I get each guest to ask a question of the next guest.
Oh.
But each guest is, not known to the guests.
Oh, okay.
So I've got a question for you from the previous podcast guest.
Yes.
Drummer Rod Wilson.
Yes.
So, can you please tell Luke what your favourite recording is to listen to? Who is the artist, and what about it? What is it about this recording and this music that inspired you or that you love so much?
Oh man, I hate that. I'll try and answer this the best I can because there's so many recordings I love for different reasons. I can't say there's anyone in particular because. So I'll just name one. Is that the whole idea?
Yeah, but you can name more if you want.
All right. Well, one of them I actually listened to it the other day. It's this album called "Slave to the Rhythm" by Grace Jones.
Oh, yeah, that sounds familiar.
It's a really interesting record because it's all about Grace Jones, and how great she is and all this sort of thing. But the musical journey it's like a journey. Like the whole album is like a trip. Like you listen to it from the beginning, you got to listen to the end.
Okay.
And just sonically, it sounds great. Trevor Horn produced it. Do you know who Trevor Horn is?
No.
He produced Seal's
right.
breakout record, and he was in that band called the Buggles. Video Killed the Radio Star.
Mm-hmm.
He was the front guy. He's a bass player.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, he produced it, and it just sounds so good. And the bass playing on it is amazing, and some of the songs are epic and funky and experimental, and it's just a eargasm. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially if you listen to it with headphones, it's a wild record. That's one record. Another one would be Jeff Buckley's album Grace.
Mm-hmm.
That I just think that's just a reason I like that one is it's just his the emotion he just pours out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just the like when I first heard that record, someone played it to me. And what's the big deal? It was a weird thing, and then I heard it again. I went, oh, actually, I know what the big deal is. This is amazing. You know? Like the composition, the singing. Yeah, he's a brilliant guitar player. He had, I love his band. It was a band. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it wasn't just session guys. It was his band, and they had a great chemistry. And I don't know, that's got to be one of them as well. And then there's many more, but that's two that come to mind.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head.
No, it's cool. At least I know the second one really well. That's in my top 10 albums of all time. It's a special record.
Yeah, check out Slave to the Rhythm.
I will.
It's good. It's
well,
a good record.
What would you like to ask our next guest?
Do I know who the next guest is going to be?
No.
This is a random question.
Yeah. You know that there'll be a musician.
Right.
But it doesn't even have to be about music.
Yeah, right. So, what's your favorite breakfast? No, that's not the question, by the way.
I might slip it in.
Oh, I don't know. I'm the worst at this. Let me think. Okay, it's very simple. What is it that you love about what you do, as far as whether you sing or play your instrument? What's the main thing you love about it?
It's great.
That's the best I can come up with. Sorry.
Oh, it's a very good question.
Yeah.
Straight to the point.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll open with it.
Whoa.
Yeah. You'll know the next guest, but I won't say it whilst we're on the podcast.
No worries.
What are you most looking forward to about the next phase of your career? I say phase. Maybe it doesn't feel like a different phase, but to me, I'm like, oh well, you've just released some new music. You're planning to do more in the original thing, as well as all the other stuff you do too.
Yeah. Look, I think that's that's a good question, and I think the fact that you brought up me doing original music, I think that's probably the next phase for me. Really do a bit more studio stuff. I didn't done it for ages. I just haven't had the time or anything, but I really enjoy it, and I I love that creativity of it all, and I think there's a lot more clarity in my brain at the moment these days. Sometimes I'd start grooves and go, this is shit, move on to the next one, and I've got heaps of them there. I'll probably never revisit them because I just can't be bothered. But I think I've got more clarity about what I actually want to do, my ideas, and how to express myself. I think that comes with age, maybe. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess that's the next phase. Obviously still, working. Obviously want to keep working for as long as possible. That's pretty important. Which hopefully will still happen. But I've been very blessed. I've done some great gigs over the years, and I've travelled, and I've done some great worked with some great people. So as far as the gig thing's concerned, I'm pretty satisfied as far as that's concerned. But I still love performing and meeting new people. Like last night, I was only a wedding gig, but I met some new people I haven't met before, and they were great to work with and stuff. So yeah, like meeting new musicians, new personalities. Does that answer your question, or did I just go off?
Yeah, no.
Did I just go off chops then?
A little bit at the end, but that's still cool.
Yeah. I feel like the whole interview I've been going, I hear that my brain's been going everywhere, but I apologise.
No, don't apologise. It's all part of the fun of sitting down with Ben Cripps.
Oh, yeah. Get into my crazy brain. Yeah.
Well, I'll end with 5 quick questions.
Sure.
What is your favourite venue to play in Melbourne?
My favourite venue. Look, I've played. I like the Palais. I've played there a few times, just with the acts. Palais Theatre's really good. I've got a soft spot for the Forum as well. I did a gig with Paul Mac there. It was back in 2000. It was bumping, absolutely, bumping crowd,
wow.
Especially for that dance music sort of thing.
Yeah.
As far as the smaller venues, like Memo's pretty cool. I've done a few gigs there. Yeah, I don't really do a lot of small gigs. I don't really get asked to do it. I've done Paris Cat a few times. That's kind of cute. Cute little hang. That tiny little place up there.
Yeah.
But it's got a certain charm. I understand. It's a good sort of foundation for that sort of for those smaller gigs. Definitely. Yeah.
Yep.
There was a couple of venues anyway.
My favorite thing about this, couple of questions and the range of guests I have on the show, is the crossover between people's favorite venues to play and their dream venues. And we just had Brett Garcett on the podcast a couple episodes ago.
Sick.
And Brett's favorite venue was Rod Laver or something. Whatever massive stadium. He's that's my local, we were playing with Robbie Williams there last year. And
Yeah,
I guess that
yeah.
one feels like my local small van venue after all the big ones I've done with Farnham. And it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you've got like, I like playing at the Forum, but then the Forum's like 50% of people's like dream venue to play at.
Yeah,
who
yeah.
come on the podcast. So
Yeah, sure. I
It's
played
nice.
Rod Laver as well. I mean, I don't know. I guess it is a venue. But what I see is a venue that's a little bit more intimate. I don't know.
yeah. No, it makes sense. I think Brett really only does stadiums now. So
Exactly. Yeah, he's that quality of a musician, that's for sure. Yeah.
Well, what would be your dream venue to play at?
Oh, does it have to be here or anywhere?
No, anywhere.
Oh, Wembley?
Yeah, cool.
Wembley Stadium would be nice. I'd like to do Red Rocks one day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if that ever happens. I don't know. But that'd be cool. I like that. That venue looks amazing. Middle of the desert or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, that looks
special
cool.
place.
Madison Square. I don't know. I'm really dreaming now. Waiting for that call.
Hey, well, once you keep putting out more of the original stuff,
Well, you never know.
exactly.
I'm not sure if that's sort of stadium music, but
I
we'll
don't
see.
know. Sort of bass at the front.
Yeah, maybe.
Mark King could do it.
True. I'm not singing though. But anyway, we'll see what happens.
All right.
You got a dream big, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, what is your coffee order?
Soy flat white.
What's your favourite place to get food after a gig in Melbourne?
Oh, God, I haven't done that for a while. I used to hit Topolino's
Oh yeah.
a bit back in the day. I don't know. I'm a bit of a homebody. If I do a gig, I go home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't do the hang much anymore. Especially now I'm older. Like if you said Sydney, because when I was younger, I moved down here 18 years ago. But when I was younger, we used to do the hang more. I used to do more the hang after gigs thing there.
Yep.
So
Was there a spot for any Sydney listeners?
there was a place called the Iguana Bar in King's Cross, but that was old King's Cross. It doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
King's Cross is boring now. The rich people took over and shut it down pretty much. So yeah, maybe there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and then final question. I got two. You can pick which one you want.
Yeah.
Either one piece of advice that you'd give to your younger self,
Mm-hmm.
or one piece of gear that you could not live without.
When you say gear, like musical gear or anything.
Well, I was thinking musical gear, but if something else has come to your mind, I'm intrigued now.
One piece of gear I could do without. Look, bass is pretty boring. The bass guitar. I can't live without a bass guitar. That's it.
I'm thinking more like, is there like one of your instruments? Like you got quite a few. Basses,
Oh,
but,
okay.
like-
So what's one bass I couldn't live without?
all right. Clearly, I need to work on the question, and we should
No,
go
no.
back to the other one.
Yeah. Sorry. Maybe I'll answer the other one. Younger self.
So many people have been like, "Man, that's such a big question to end the podcast on." I feel like all the other ones are like a light, and maybe just have like another music one. So I was just testing something out, but
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think I've said it before on Craig's one. Like when I was younger, I wish I was a little bit more smarter with, a musician's life's a hard one. And, especially when you're first starting out, I just wish I maybe went to uni and got a teaching degree or something like that. I'm teaching a bunch now, but back then, maybe because when things were quiet, it's like either feast or famine. Do you know what I mean? So I probably just wish I had a little bit more of a backup for my music when I was younger. I mean, that's obviously not a question anymore, but back then I was like, but on the other hand, isn't that what you do when you're young? You bum around and do gigs. That's what I did. So maybe I don't want to tell myself the younger self.
that's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Do you mind expanding on what you mean when you said like, the musician's life is a hard one?
Well, it's like, there's a lot of luck in music. It's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know, who you meet. It's a lot of networking. You got to be a certain personality and outgoing, and put yourself out there. So, which is hard work in itself, and people try to do that. For whatever reason, it might not work, so they don't get the gigs. So how do they make money? They've got to have some sort of backup, I mean, I was pretty fortunate that, it took me a while to fall into the scene. I was like 25 before I was sort of, considered like a well-respected musician. Up till then, I was sort of, bumming around doing gigs and stuff like that, small gigs. And so, I guess that's what I mean. Just be prepared, especially if you want to live a good life, Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to discourage any musicians out there. I mean, I guess it's like anything. You got to work hard. You got to work hard and you got to stand out,
I think it's a bit of the balance, like,
Yeah.
Like you said with the example of like playing in Las Vegas. Like on one hand, like, oh, it's cool and exciting, and then on the other hand, you're stuck playing the same show every night, and you miss your family. So there's like pros and cons to everything. It's not all just like the flashiness of Instagram.
Oh yeah, totally. Totally. I mean, look, I was definitely appreciative of the. I mean, who wouldn't want to go to Vegas and do some shows? And don't get me wrong, I don't. What's the word? Take that for granted. And it was good, and the band, we had fun and we did the show and all that. But yeah, it was just a weird time for me, especially for my wife. She's just there doing it by herself. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, time to go. But I stayed there for 3 months. Hello, dog.
Well,
but that was still really fun. Sorry, going back to that now.
no. Well, if anyone wants to book you to play again in Vegas, or have you like produce their record, or check out some of your music, I'll chuck links up on the website with all your details. But what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
I've got a website called, it's a pretty basic name. It's bencrippsbass.com. Yeah, there's a contact page there, and there's other pages there, bio and all that sort of stuff. So photos, videos, the stuff I put up, and production stuff I've done. So yeah, check out bencrippsbass.com.
Perfect.
www.bencrippsbass.com. Yeah, and just Instagram is Ben_Cripps_bass. I kind of very boring, but keep it all the same.
The consistency is good.
Yeah. If anyone's interested in chatting or whatever, contact me through there. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thanks so much for coming on the podcast, man.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks for the chinwag. It's been fun, mate. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us on Our Drummers Musicians. I hope you enjoyed diving into the world of another musician as much as I did. Help us grow by leaving a review and sharing the podcast with your friends, family, favourite artist, or anyone else who might enjoy it. For more info and updates, visit ourdrummersmusicians.com. See you next time.